University of Miami.
I'm Ryan Groves from the AI Song Contest, and with me today is Dr. Raina Murnak, Head of Contemporary Voice and Performance Artistry, and Dr. Tom Collins, Associate Professor of Music Engineering Technology, both from the Frost School of Music, University of Miami. And they were past participants in the AI Song Contest, so we wanted to give an update and a little interview to see where they're at today. So could you both tell me about your music AI journey?
Well, I
Raina.
could start that. Yeah, sure. Well, my music AI journey sort of started with Dr. Collins coming to the Frost School of Music. I knew that that was his area of specialty. And so before any involvement in the AI Song Contest or any of the grants that we subsequently applied for, I got together with him just to kind of explore possibilities. And he showed me a lot of tools, including tools that he created. And that really got me thinking about different ways of being creative.
And Raina, would you say you're more of an artist, an academic, or an engineer?
I'm definitely not an engineer, so we'll remove those. That I am an artist and an academic.
Great. And Tom, how did you get into music AI? What's your journey?
It's been a longish one, so I'll give you a short, try to give you a short answer. But I was always fascinated with the intersection of music and math or music and computer science. So I did a PhD on the topic of automatically discovering structure in songs or pieces of music, with a view to turning that discovered structure into a template for guiding the generation of music in a target style. So that was I finished that in 2011 and kind of been, interested in both the engineering side of music and AI and the collaborating with artists or just using it myself as an artist. Since then, I suppose like moving more toward working with other artists as I felt like the tech has matured and I can kind of look more to its use and its application and then research around how people are using it and what it does for society and for musicians.
Great. Yeah, and just as an aside, Tom and I go back pretty far through the Izmir Conference, International Society of Music Information Retrieval. I think we were both kind of early adopters in terms of using this machine learning and AI techniques for creative endeavors. And I remember, for example, when you were creating a model that would predict the next note in melodies, which nowadays is sort of matter of fact in these generative AI systems. So
yeah,
great.
A good paper title, Predicting the Musical Future, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you end up participating in the AI Song Contest?
Well, I mean, we had already had a grant that we were running, and we were working with a lot of different parties. We had high school students, we had graduate students, we had ourselves. And Tom had been involved with the AI Song Contest, which I'm sure he will tell you about. But it was sort of, I don't want to say it was sort of an afterthought because we were involved in so many other things, but it was, wow, we have all of these students and these resources, and why not? So our entry, we kind of pulled together intensely and semi last minute. But it was a really fun thing to do and to collaborate with students. In that capacity, I was more of an artist. And that was really fun for me to conceptually be involved and then artistically be involved.
Yeah, and I think yeah, definitely your involvement was not just artistic, right? It was conceptual and somewhat technological because we were figuring out, like last year we used Kit's AI for voice cloning and we weren't only AI Song Contest participants to do so, and it was interesting to see the diverse use of it actually between teams. But one thing we did was try to transition smoothly from Amanda Pasler's voice into, oh, the other way around, Raina's voice into Amanda Pasler's as the song progressed. So conceptually, that was interesting and technologically, fun to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and also because we were transitioning between an R&B to a grunge, and there was a character arc with like I was sort of this sweet person and she was kind of like this dark shadow of that person. So it was fun.
Awesome. And how did AI impact your creative process or your vision in that case?
I think that AI created the creative vision, to be honest.
Hmm.
I've never in my musical life thought about transitioning between an R and an R&B genre to a grunge genre. Like that the
Yeah,
concept itself came from the technology, I would say. If a bunch of musicians sat down to write a song, I think the thought processes are very different. And it's sort of like throwing in an element of fixed randomness that you're going to obey. And I think that's just like learning any rules. If you learn how to write a fugue, right? Like you have an element of a fixed element that you're working your creativity around. I think with the AI, it throws in really odd combinations sometimes. And if you're allegiant to that as a creative goal, I think that the outputs are always going to take you outside of what your human instincts would otherwise be doing. So for me, even just knowing that my voice was going into her voice, um, it changed it changed so much of the inflections and the things that I was doing as an artist, as a vocalist, knowing that I almost had to sweeten it more to get to a place of darker energy. So it was the whole thing was very AI influenced creatively.
nice.
Yeah, and I think as well as the voice cloning to create the transition and the genre um, um, evolution or transition that went along with that, we had some more in the MIDI or symbolic domain. We had some bass lines and drum beats and chord sequences. And it's always fun from my perspective to smash AI generated bass lines and chord sequences together and see what sticks and what doesn't. I quite enjoy having 20 clips of a bass line, different bass lines, 20 clips of chord sequences, and then you've got, a large number of potential combinations that you can kind of see whether there's anything. It pushes me to a different space where like there'll be clashes that I wouldn't contemplate or that wouldn't come out from my like fingers playing guitar or fingers on the piano keyboard, and you kind of ask yourself the question, can I make this work? And this time around for the 2024 song contest, it was fun to have the students consider that as well and try to show them a new way to write music. I mean, they use sampling a lot, I think, anyway, but this is a little different. So yeah, it's cool.
And did you find that the AI tools that you used were successful? Did you try to have them represent the two different genres when you were generating content? And if so, were they successful in doing that?
Yeah, good question. For the MIDI, we definitely trained on a grunge data set. Um, and like I thought got some pretty usable bass lines, like the bass line that you get to by about 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes to 2 minutes 30 in the song is give or take a few notes, something that came out of the AI. And in the R&B section, I think it's just like a 1/4, 1/4 alternating chord sequence, maybe like major seventh on each chord, if I recall correctly. And
Hmm.
so that line wasn't AI generated, but as you move into the first chorus, it's still R&B, and it is a kind of R&B-ified version of the grunge bass line, if you like. So, but that I think was one of the fun challenges for our student Ryan Groves, who was the bass player. I basically encouraged him to think of, how do you unpick this quite dense and grunge sounding like bass line, make it R&B in the first instance, and then transition between the two. So I ended up playing some bass because we kind of had two singers and in a way two bands in the performance, right? Like we had our R&B, which was me and Spencer, and then grunge was Eli and Ryan, and vocalists wise, Amanda was R&B and Raina was R&B and Amanda was grunge. Anyway, the bass lines that are in that mid space, in that like liminal space between R&B and grunge, they were my favorite bits to play.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting that you actually had almost like designated genres for your band members. That's pretty incredible.
I would
Um,
say as well, like it was interesting to see genre transition kind of on speed or overdrive in the Dadabots entry, which I think was called genre canon, where the genre was changing
yeah,
over a matter of seconds, and ours was like one change over a matter of minutes. So you see how the same concepts are being deployed differently. And I would say with voice cloning as well, like I think it was the entry by DJ Swami. Like they had a choir, right, where like they'd layered lots of voices from different parts of the world using the same tech, but completely different outcomes. So that's, I think, one of the most interesting things about the AI song contest is to see what different ends musicians will put the same tech.
yeah, absolutely. It's almost like the AI models have no taste, right? So they're just like happy to be creating music in any genre and can sort of move fluidly between them. So because
Yeah,
it does seem to be emergent.
it's like it's not as bad as a kind of a blank slate. I say bad because sometimes, people fear a blank canvas. So, but it's like it's still I feel like there's still scope for you to kind of come in and change what is generated to make it more to your taste or to some, genre target.
Yeah. So could you tell us if you had any memorable moments or insights from the contest?
I mean, I thought the whole thing was so interesting. I feel like it's such still an emerging form of art, right? So seeing that all of the members, all of the finalists really did totally different things. I mean, like Tom said, took the tech and used it. Sometimes the same tech, just totally different outputs. But also, I was, I guess, most inspired by some of the more conceptual creations, like the DJ Swami one, like, where they really thoughtfully embraced the the chance of what the AI would give them and use that, but it was tied into something conceptual, like the winner who tied in cliches about their home country and use those as song lyrics and it was very interesting and truly I think that a good creative relationship happens where two parties are interested in each other. We could just take AI as being completely interested in all of the intelligence that we are showing it, and we are in turn interested in its output, right? We can get better and better at prompting to get more control, but I think in any art form, the the moment is actually the most important thing and the spontaneity is actually really important. So I think you have a lot of opportunity to have spontaneous encounters with things that could inspire you artistically with an artificial intelligence. And I always think like the second word's the more important word. Yeah, artificial, sure. We're organic intelligence, that's artificial intelligence. It's two intelligent beings creating something. And I think you just kind of don't know where that's going to go. I think that to me was the most inspiring thing, just to see how other teams, human, non-human, are working together. And, certainly for this year's contest, Tom could tell you I have a lot of ideas.
Amazing. We love to hear that. Amazing.
Highlights or memorable moments for me, it would like having kind of, discussed the formation of the contest back in November 2019 with Karen Van Dyke from VPRO and then Vincent Coops. Like I remember talking to them about it in a bar in Delft. It was just and then like being a participant through the COVID years and then being on the wrong continent for La Coruña without the money to kind of go in 2023, it was really nice to come in 2024 and actually kind of meet people and play something live, right? So the live show was probably, the highlight, if that's not too bland or obvious an answer.
I think for us as the organizing team, it was also the highlight for us because we've been working towards having, a live performance element to the award show for a while now, and finally we're able to achieve that. So knock on wood that we can get it this year as well. So, um, so did participation in the AI song contest benefit your career in music or AI? And I know it's a bit loaded because you are obviously have established careers. But
Well, but still it did benefit for sure. And I think that it expanded for me as a newbie to AI and music. Tom and I did a keynote for a research forum with our colleague Chris Bennett on successful collaborations between areas. They are obviously in the music engineering side. I'm in the performative side. Um, and, myself alone, I would have never even thought to embark on anything in this realm. So to me, the benefit is the opening the doors to other opportunities to leverage what I can add to a team, even if it's not my direct area of expertise.
Yeah,
very interesting.
from my point of view, I think, if you're an academic, which I am, and then someone comes along and says, we're going to start this contest with a global reach that showcases work that you do for your academic research, you're like, yes, yes, please, that sounds great, right? Like I feel very lucky that it has kind of happened and grown as an event and as a community. Because yeah, like back in 2011, it was kind of pre the deep learning revolution, and the world wasn't massively interested in, you know, generative music, I would say. So it's definitely a change and a good one. Yeah.
Great to hear. And so what are the current topics in AI and music that excite you the most?
So from my point of view, the one of the most exciting things is kind of looking beyond what it's done for, say, me individually, or like, the small but excellent handful of people that I've worked on the AI song contest entries with over the years, which has been fantastic in itself. But like I'm excited about being involved now with Dr. Murnak and Chris Bennett and some of our research assistants on kind of looking at how we integrate this into education for like middle school through high school and into college programs, and kind of looking at measures of people's students, teachers' perceptions of this before the intervention, before the exposure to these AI music technologies, and looking at the impact of that, like after there's been a series of classes or lessons. So this kind of broadening out, studying the impact on musicians and music and society, beyond the architectural innovations is something that's exciting to me.
I think we started to embark on this with some of our research assistants, but the implications of live, in the moment, reactive performances, interfacing with something that would trigger something else, so that we had a student who was working on hand gestures and different components of the music being altered. I think that, live tone changing, it's stuff like that. Live manipulation actually excites me. And I know that that's going to be, getting better and better in the next few years. So I would love to be experimenting with that.
Yeah, I think through the work we've done, just to kind of, pick up on what Raina was saying there, through the work we've done, especially with the ensemble students at Frost, there's, I think, big questions about how you take something that has worked in a DAW, and that could be like stem splitting, or it could be tone transfer, or it could be MIDI generation or voice cloning, and so on, right? The list is long of analytical creative tasks. Something that kind of works in an offline manner, and then you take it to the stage, and then you first figure out how to play it, and you rehearse it, and you take it to the stage. I mean, it's not necessarily evident to the audience then, like, where was the AI in this? Like, you're just performing a song live, and it sounds, it might sound great, might sound average, but like, trying to find where the AI was in the process, I think, remains a challenge for communicating to an audience. And so, like what Raina's saying about live possibilities, it just makes the role of the tech, I think, that much more evident, but also more exciting for the artist. And I think personalization as well is an area certainly I would like to see, like, more progress. I think we have quite a few good one-size-fits-all text to audio or voice cloning solutions or tech, right? And I don't know, sometimes it just feels like it's quite middle of the road, and you can't push it enough in the direction of like 5 or 6 songs that you've already got in your portfolio, and you want something that sounds like you more, but is still pushing you in a new direction. Personalization and live, I would say.
Nice. So what would your advice be to future participants of the AI Song Contest?
I would say don't be intimidated by the technology aspect of it. Like, I think that a lot of creators and artists, they won't even think of themselves in this realm because of that, if they don't have the direct experience. I would say maybe the AI is forcing you to collaborate with other people too. So, use it as a team building and bring people on who can see if you have a vision. Don't be intimidated that there are some, other people have to help you make your vision. So I would say just like talk to people about what your ideas are and see how many ways those can happen.
Yeah. Similarly, I would say you can think of the AI as a catalyst around which to have a human to human collaboration. Yeah, I feel like lucky to have worked with various artists on this for the last 5 or 6 years, and those human to human collaborations wouldn't have happened were it not for the AI. The AI is important in that process, but in a way it's really just enabled and enriched my human music making.
So like use AI as a matchmaker.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Or like a campfire, like you want to
Yes.
feel like you're surrounding, because I do feel that, like, it's not both Tom and I, like, there were so many people involved in this project, and I would have never made music with any of these people had it not been for the AI.
It's great. And do you expect to participate again this year?
Definitely. We
Would you
hope.
like to say more? Yeah, we're planning to.
Fantastic. Amazing. Well, I think that's actually all the questions that we had for you. Thank you so much for taking your time to discuss this with us. And we look very much forward to future entries from you and your team, or new teams if you want to bring in more people. It's always good to have evangelists. So thank you, Raina. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate your time. And if you'd like to be notified when artist submission period opens, leave a thumbs up in the comments below, and we'll be posting this on all of our socials. So Thank you very much.